So a few years ago, I used to watch an old show called Logo Mysteries. It's basically where if they find a logo which is unconfirmed, they'll be able to figure it out if it's legit or not. Looking back at this series, I wonder, where are they now? Were they real this whole time? Are they still unconfirmed? Let's find out together.
Various trade adverts have hinted at the fact that they did have a logo around this time, in which they did, seen right here.
And that one was already disproven years later.
Eric S. has compiled a list of polygram television output from the early 1980s.
I could continue on, but they all seem to be inconclusive.
I'm just going to tell you this right now. This logo is fake.
Well, that was easy.
The reason why this case is open is because this very logo might be seen on sales prints of various Hanna-Barbera shows.
I'm not exactly too sure. Even with the findings of that Viacom logo and Paramount logo, I think the most that we're gonna get is like an in-credit notice. Heck, I don't even know if there's any sales prints of Scooby-Doo shows like that.
There is no way that a Screen Gems logo like this will be used as an on-screen logo in the 1980s. Why? Because a Coca-Cola telecommunications logo will be used instead.
Not to mention, this is from a magazine ad, and if you know magazines, they make some crazy stuff.
It's very interesting, but it's a tease for Coca-Cola to use the Screen Gems name and logo. If my theory is correct, then I wouldn't be surprised if Warner Bros. Started using the Lorimar name on a special occasion.
Hey, anything can happen. Cartoon Network Studios Europe did the exact same thing.
I like this.
Unlike other episodes in Logo Mysteries, all of these logos are assumed to be confirmed.
So wait, does that mean that? Ah, whatever, I'll go for it anyway.
Have a look at the label on the bottom right hand side of the screen. TMS Distribution. The year is 1993, and Hoyts were always playing second fiddle to Village Roadshow. Riddled with debt, they needed a restructure. And so, with the help of some banks, their corporate identity changed to TMS. It was clear that this name was trying to separate itself from Hoyts, although I can't imagine why.
Now, I don't know too much about Australian home media stuff, but I do remember something similar happening in America. Several years ago, Sega and Nintendo allowed third-party companies to distribute their titles onto their platforms. However, due to some agreement, they were only limited to about a small number of those titles. And that led to reverse engineering, unlicensed games, and new distribution units to get around that limit. It's possible Hoyts did this to get around some sort of agreement with Roadshow, but I can't say for certain.
Hoyts really started kicking back in the distribution game around the mid-2000s, culminating in their release of Summit Entertainment films like Twilight, before their eventual purchase to Studio Canal in 2012.
And now Summit looks like this.
Oh my goodness!
Next up, Grady Union. Fast forward to the 1992 release of the children's animation Blinky Bill, and you can see that Grady Union is still going strong as a distribution arm, complete with a new logo and a byline.
And 8 days later, at the time of this recording, it's got its official on-screen logo. Hello, post-editor SORA here. After talking with Logo Archive, this isn't actually the logo that he was talking about, since that logo was replaced with this. The logo he's actually talking about just came out just recently. Well, okay, a picture of it, but you get what I mean. This is the first time it's ever premiered on YouTube, so I present to you the Greater Union Distributors logo from 1988. This was on a picture of a film strip that was posted on Facebook around like a month ago. So yeah, I apologize if I got the other logos mixed up with the other one. Anyways, back to the video.
Most of you will remember the Village Roadshow logo I posted about a month or two ago.
7 years ago.
It was finally found in all of its glory, and I thought that the search for the rarest logo in Australia was over. But if this print logo is true, that means that the Delinquents holds even more mysteries than just the full Village Roadshow logo. And that would be a really strange prospect. Greater Union distributing a Village Roadshow Pictures film, when Village Roadshow have their own distribution label that they could have used?
I'm assuming it's some international distribution agreement. It's kind of like how Regency is allowed to produce films for other companies, but 20th Century Fox would still own the international rights of those films.
Umbrella Entertainment have released a DVD of the 1992 Blinking Bill film, but it's in full screen, which means that it's unlikely that the Greater Union logo will be preserved.
I've looked around to find that DVD version of the movie, but the only thing I've come close to it is the Spanish DVD version of the film, and it doesn't even have it either.
Oh yes, Roadshow had the byline too. Was this ever an on-screen logo, or was it only a print logo? Roadshow would have obviously had to come up with a new animated logo for Greater Union Distributors, so they would obviously have the chance.
They would, but according to the GU capture, there was no mention of a byline at all. I guess they just didn't bother.
It is possible that the Roadshow television logo is actually an adaptation of a preview bumper for films released by Village Roadshow during that time, and that the full logo that you see on the Roadshow home video logo is actually an adaptation of their releasing logo.
Now, I can't confirm anything on the television front, but there is footage of the releasing logo. You want to see it? Man, that is huge!
An earlier prototype allegedly exists, with the classic text in white and the red parallelogram on a navy blue gradient background. Gee, what does that remind you of? Whoever came up with this alleged logo find, I completely understand that your memory might have been mixed up, because distorted memories happen all the time.
Wait, does that mean that UFO 20th Century Fox logo was never real? Nah, that's silly.
Evergreen Programs was more or less an in-name only division, or some kind of subdivision of marketing. The shows that are advertised by Evergreen Programs were old. It even says it right there in fine print. Remember when I discussed the probability of sales prints of certain shows in the previous episode? After all we did was discuss that Evergreen Programs was not a distribution subdivision.
This one sounds more possible than the Taft HB logo, but then again, I could be wrong. I think it's just due to the fact that the Taft HB logo is just a trademark, while Evergreen was on advertisement prints. But besides that, I got nothing to add.
It likely appeared at the end of Hollywood Pictures movies on cable in the time frame.
Very doubtful of that, because you know what logo appears at the end of those films? It's either or. And personally, in my opinion, it wouldn't make sense to have another TV label just for Hollywood Pictures material, especially when Disney likes to combine their mature library in one basket, kinda like what they're doing right now with 20th Century Studios.
What the hell was this division supposed to be?
International programming?
Paramount produced and syndicated unsuccessful TV projects way before they bought Desilu, so we might have a clue there. Also, have you ever noticed that TV prints of movies in the 1950s had a logo spliced onto the film? It happened to post-1950 WB and Fox with 7 Arts.
An old television pilot could be really possible, but maybe not a syndicated film back then. I'm assuming Universal had a different distributor back then.
It seems that there are 2 possible ways to find this logo. One is to look for home recordings of the special from the early 80s. Another is to look for 60mm prints of the special.
Considering it was broadcasted by NBC, it could be still possible it might be in their station's archives. Or, and this is a big or, we could check if Warner Archive is willing to do a scan of the film. I mean, knowing they did so many scans of Chuck Jones material on MeTV, and on Blu-ray and DVD, how could they refuse? By the way, don't actually ask Warner Archive for that. This is just a theory.
I asked executive producer Eric S. if there were any clues that he found so we can get closer to solving the mystery. Fortunately, there were clues. House Call, a 90-second program starring Dr. Lyndon Smith and Merle Ellis's The Butcher. The only way these programs might be available are through home recordings. But even this is nearly impossible to realize. I mean, who would save up recordings of this guy?
Considering that VHS has dominated the market back then, you don't know what people would record on those. There was a 5th episode by Matthew Mayfield, but I can't find the episode anymore. So until I find episode 5, this is all I got so far. As for what's shown to me, it was still interesting, but there was a lot more holes into those mysteries. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still worth talking about, but I don't know. I will say though, I would definitely come back to this video sometime later, if I do manage to find episode 5. Till then, see you later!